Christine.
Hi, Dave.
It's great to have you working here at Big Bend and have you be our school poet laureate. So anyway, my understanding is you're going to share with us a little bit some poetry that you've written. So why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and then maybe introduce the first poem, and we'll take it from there.
Okay, well, I grew up in Eastern Washington. I've been around, but I came back, and this is where I'm at home and where I like to be. I work here in the lab as a tutor. Done a little bit of teaching here. I'd love to do some more of that someday. And during the summer, I work at the Gorge Amphitheater, and I have a really good time out there. It's a totally different experience from here. Right now, I'm taking a second master's degree in English at Heritage University online, which is fabulous because I don't have to be in classes on the weekends, and I don't have to move to Toppenish or anything. So it's been very cool. This quarter I have a creative writing class from Dr. Ann Olson, who is a fabulous instructor. I've had her for several classes. And so for our final in creative writing, we have to do presentations of our best work. My best work is all short and all sort of poetry, so those are what I chose to do. I have 2 sestinas. I like the sestina form because it's complicated and tasking, but the truth is that one day a student showed up in class with an assignment from a poetry class and a packet of different kinds of poetry forms. And he kindly allowed me to copy his poetry forms, and I was looking through it and I tripped over this sestina thing, and I thought, wow, that looks interesting. And like a lot of people, I thought, that should be easy. Well, it's not quite so easy as it looks, but it was very fun and it was very challenging. So my first sestina is Fall Sestina. From the trees fall leaves that softly waft and kiss the ground, now hard with frost. Wood smoke from the hearth brings memories of home and warmth of hope. A child ponders future hope, watching while Dad rakes the leaves. Mom brings cocoa and a kiss, then goes to clean the freezer of frost. The child doodles on the ashy hearth. Across the street is another home. Across the street in another home, a ringing phone is hope to a woman as she leaves for work, forgetting to kiss her child who finds only frost, where once there was a warm hearth. The cold brick hearth spreads icy fingers through the home, throwing a pall over hope as the woman leaves, and the child waits for a kiss and finds only frost. Finding only frost, the child flees from the hearth, flees the home, looking for hope, walks through the leaves, still waiting for a kiss. The child with cocoa and a kiss thinks of patterns in the frost, dreams of a merry fire in the hearth, enjoys the living home, holds a heart full of hope, and watches as the other child leaves. Leaves kiss the ground, frost melts on the window of the home, heated by the hearth, warmed by hope.
Now, let me ask, I'm kind of curious, does that poem have anything to do with when the student came in and shared with you the poems that he had written?
You know, I don't remember exactly which poem he had written, and I don't recall that he had taken on a sestina form.
Okay.
But I was definitely inspired by the form and by the words that came to me to write, you know, a compare and contrast.
Yeah, and that's an interesting play on frost. Where are you in this poem?
Where am I in this poem?
Do you view yourself? Are you the kid where the frost melts, or are you the kid where that's all there is? The hearth is dead and there's frost. I mean, I'm just curious.
No. That's a great question, and the truth of the matter is that I think in my lifetime I've been both.
Okay.
You know, when my parents were together when I was a child, we had a fireplace. My mother could run you out of the house with the heat she could put out from that fireplace.
Okay.
And my dad was always there, and things were warm, and we were innocent, and life was the way it should be. you know. But then my parents got divorced, and so we didn't see my dad as often, and there was a lot of tension back and forth, and a lot of angry feelings from adults who had no outlet but children to throw them at. So, you know, while I've never run away from home, I have run away from a lack of hope,
Okay.
being unable to take it anymore.
So do you view this poem in the end, is it positive? Do some of us have hope? Do all of us have hope? I guess I'm hung up on the poor kid that has no hope.
Yeah, yeah. And when I first presented this poem, that was a point with several people.
Yeah.
They wanted the child who didn't have any hope to go next door and get a kiss and some cocoa and play with the neighbor kid.
Yeah, but that doesn't happen in life.
Yeah, and I think that we all have hope,
Mhm.
but sometimes it's really hard to grab onto. So,
Well, let's see what your other poem says then.
more recently, I give blood every 2 months. And when you give blood, they give you a little sticker that says, you can give blood again in 2 months. And it's got a little round piece that you can pull out. It's red, and it says in white, give blood today. I took that sticker, and I was looking at it and looking at it and looking at it, and I thought, give blood today. As in, when I get up in the morning, and I want to put an effort into what I'm doing that day, what kind of an effort am I giving? Am I giving it my blood? Am I putting blood in it today? Or am I just watching my day go idly by? You know, am I giving it my best effort, or am I farting around, frankly? So, you know, looking at those 3 words over and over again, and having been inspired by a similar sestina, which only uses the 6 chosen words, I decided to attempt to do likewise, to add 3 more words to the ones that were banging around in my head, and to put them in a sestina form and see what happened. So, this one is called Give Blood Today. Give blood today, red life, again. Again, give life blood, red, today. Today, again, give blood, life. Life today, blood, again, give red. Red life, give today, again, blood. Blood red again, life, today, give. Blood, give, again today, red life.
That's interesting. Now, I have a couple of questions for you.
Go for it.
One of them is, you know, a lot of times I think people either think poetry is just, you just sit down and write whatever comes to your mind. Other people say, well, there needs to be a structure. And I'm just curious, because you have some really interesting combinations. Did they just come to you? Did your unconscious bubble up and these, or did you actually have a way of trying to construct it?
Playing around with different forms can inspire, just depending on which form it is. Limericks inspire by form. But sometimes for me, in fact, I would have to say almost every time for me, since I began writing poetry, my best stuff comes out of the blue. It just is something that you know, something comes to me, and the whole thing is done in almost no time at all.
Yeah.
So, and that makes it really fun. But at the same time, there's something to be said for slaving over something, trying to change the words to get just the right words. There's something to be said for attempting forms and patterns that are challenging. I am a miserable failure at iambic pentameter. And so, you know, having beaten myself about the head and shoulders over that for several times, I finally just gave it up. I don't force any of my poems into any kind of specific pentameter. If they come out, or any specific iamb, I should say. If they come out that way, grand. If they don't, grand. My purpose is to connect with my feelings and the visuals in my head, and to show those to people who might be interested or have similar feelings or experiences. So,
Okay, good. Well, maybe one last, well, I don't know how many questions you want to
go
ask.
ahead.
But, because you mentioned there, and it's kind of curious. I mean, clearly you wrote some of these, or you wrote them, for a class. But why else did you write them?
Oh, for myself.
Yeah.
When I first started writing poetry, I hate to compare myself to Emily Dickinson, but she wrote prodigiously in a relatively short period of time without ever sharing anything. I haven't counted how many pieces I turned out, but it all started in 2004 after my divorce and before my current marriage. And I was depressed and I needed to exercise my demons. And once I started writing, I didn't stop until I was feeling better. And then lately, I've been writing more for just the pleasure of sharing my visions on paper, for seeing it back to myself, and for sharing it with other people, which is a lot less painful. And but it still serves the purpose of releasing tension from my brain, be it depressive tension, anxiety, or just the tension of I so love this image and I want to share it with you, so.
Okay, well, we all wish you the best.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Dave.
You're welcome.